No, you're in New York. I'm actually in New Jersey, but this week's podcast is going to be all about my experience in New York for the past week. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to update you guys on my series that I'm uploading on the main channel, and then I'm just going to give you guys some, life updates because why not? But first, let's talk about New York. Actually, I lied. We're going to start off with another state, Alaska. See, if you are a subscriber to this podcast, which by the way, we gained 5 subscribers since I last uploaded, so that's awesome. But yeah, if you're an avid listener to this podcast, which has 2 episodes, and you also happen to watch my main channel, you're probably thinking, like, okay, where the fuck is Alaska? Yeah, let me just dive into it. Originally, for my 50 States in 50 Weeks series, I wanted to start off the series with a bang, and I thought, what better place to start off with than Alaska? I mean, it's one of those states that is like not boring, aka I don't know, Iowa, Idaho. Like, can you imagine how I started off the series? All right, guys, I'm going to be spending the next 50 weeks on the road, and the first state is Nebraska. No, I wouldn't want to do that. So, yeah, originally I was like, I feel like Alaska would be so cool to start off at, especially during Christmas time. And that was until I got there. You see, everyone I met in Alaska kept telling me that, like, oh my gosh, the best time to come. I don't know why I'm speaking that accent, but everyone was saying that the best time to come to Alaska was like August to September ish, like late summer time. And they would tell me that there was nothing to do in the winter time. And whenever they told me that, I would just be dumbfounded because, I was getting on a plane to fly 8 hours to Alaska. And when I got there, I didn't realize how little there was to do until I got there. Now, keep in mind, I still vlogged while I was in Alaska, and actually, I had 3 full YouTube videos edited, ready to go, scheduled, and uploaded. And I was sitting at the airport on the 30th, leaving Alaska and going to New York. And I remember it like it was a movie. I was just sitting there looking out the window, and then I started shaking my head no, and I was like, you know what? I cannot start this series off in Alaska. The episodes have been so boring. I mean, most of it was just me by myself exploring Alaska, but the thing was, I could barely explore it because it was so cold and there was nothing to do. I mean, a lot of the things you see about Alaska is like, nature activities and stuff, and I couldn't do that because it was around -1 to 5 degrees Fahrenheit whenever I was there the entire time. And so I decided that, you know what, I can't do that. I have to start the series off in New York. And I'm honestly really glad I did that, but then again, there are some major drawbacks to doing so. Number one, I have to upload the videos in real time. Like, every single video that I upload is recorded the day before. And originally I wanted to have a week buffer just in case something went wrong one day, or maybe I couldn't upload due to the Wi-Fi, or just, any sort of problems that came up, it would have been fixed with a week buffer. But yeah, no, now we're on like a very tight schedule where I upload the video and then I'm on to the next video, and it's just like, boom, we gotta go. Also, one benefit to having a week buffer is that whenever the series blows up, fingers crossed, I wouldn't be sharing my location in real time since the videos that would have been uploaded would have been recorded a week ago. But yeah, now if I, like, for example, I can't even show you guys where I'm staying at because if the series gets as big as I want it to, I don't want like people to come to the hotel or Airbnb I'm at. So yeah, there's that. But I will say Alaska was really good practice for me and just sort of like an intro week to the whole series itself. I mean, I thought I was pretty well prepared for the series, but there's nothing that actually gets you ready than doing said thing, and I'm just glad I had a whole week ahead that I was recording videos and noticing small things that needed to be fixed and stuff before the actual series started. And with that being said, let's talk about New York. So, like I said earlier, I'm not actually in New York. I've spent my past week here in Jersey City, which is about like a 35 to 45 minute, well, no, that's a lie. It's supposed to be a 35-minute commute to the city, but it ends up taking about an hour and a half. But I decided to stay in Jersey City for a multitude of reasons. One, it's a lot cheaper. Well, actually, I was planning on staying at a hotel again, which would have been around $50 a night, but my mom has a friend who lives here in Jersey City and offered me to stay at their place, and I was just like, at first I was like, do I really want to stay with my mom's friend? And then I looked at my bank account and I was like, yes, yes, I do. So I'm staying with my mom's friend here in Jersey City, and it has been honestly a blessing. One, I don't have to obviously pay $50 a night for a hotel. Two, they have food here. And three, I actually have people around me that I can talk to and, just not be as isolated. Because whenever I was in Alaska, oh my goodness, I mean, yeah, it was also Christmas time, so I was feeling it extra, but I was just feeling so isolated. But they have a son here who's a little bit older than me, and I'm able to talk to him sometimes, and he can tell me things to do and the correct buses and the correct routes to take to get to New York, and it's awesome. I really enjoy staying here. Now, let's talk about New York because it was my first time there ever in my life, which is kind of insane because I'm 23, and whenever I would tell people it's my first time in New York, they'd be like, "Oh, no way, blah blah blah." But let's talk about it. It is so expensive. Like I mentioned earlier, I looked at the hotel rooms in Jersey City and I found some for around $50, $60 a night. Any hotel in New York was around 2 to 3 times more expensive than here in New Jersey. And not only are the hotels expensive in New York, everything's expensive. I went to a 7-Eleven to buy a pack of water and it was $12 and I almost fainted right there on the ground. Food is super expensive, the Ubers and the taxis are expensive. Everything in New York is expensive and I get it because I loved New York and I see why so many other people love New York. Therefore, I understand the taxation of basic necessities like face wash and water and just about everything there is to make money off of New York, there it's expensive. Except for $1 pizza. Man, I lived on that $1 pizza when I was spending my time in the city. I think I ate it probably 4 days in a row, multiple times a day. I mean, I didn't want to spend money on food because I was spending so much money on other things. Like, for example, the commute from Jersey City to New York. I ended up taking a bus every single day, which only costed about 350, but then again, it's like $7 every single day. Multiply that by 5, so I spent about $35 on just a commute from Jersey City to New York. But sometimes I would have to take the subway, which was another $3. But towards the end of the week, I just started hopping the gate. My mom told me not to do that, but I saw like four people in front of me just hop the little subway gate, and I was like, okay, if these guys are doing it, like I'm not gonna be the one to pay $3 to get on the subway. It's a quick, easy hop. And yeah, oh, the subway. Let's talk about that. I loved it. I mean, it takes you anywhere you want in the city, and like I said, it's only $3 unless you jump the gate. And it's so fast, and something about it is just like, wow, I feel like I'm actually in a big city because, I'm from Texas, Dallas, Texas, the suburbs, oh my God, the suburbs of Dallas, Texas, and we have no such thing as a subway. I mean, our public transportation sucks. I've only used it on very few occasions, like to go downtown and stuff. And just being able to walk underground and hop on a subway and get to my location in like 15 to 20 minutes, that was such a nice experience. Well, at least until I tried it during rush hour. Oh my goodness, the last day I was in New York, I went to the subway around 4, it was like 5 p.m. and that was something I've never even witnessed before. I mean, go to my video if you haven't seen it. It's day 5, I believe, and we were like packed in that little subway cart like sardines. Like I could not even lift my hand for certain portions of the ride. I couldn't even like do a 360 if I wanted to. It was packed, and with a lot of people in one small subway cart comes awful odor. I mean, Jesus Christ, that thing smelled worse than the UTD gym, which, if you know, UTD is gymnasium, not the best smelling place in the. It's really bad. One thing I really loved about New York is that there was just so many things to do, and it was really hard to be bored. I mean, there's so much going on. Part of that is just because there's so many people, but also then again, well, actually, yeah, I guess a big part of that is just because there's so many people, but every single day I would just walk around and man, you like feel the energy almost when you're walking in that big of a city. Also, something that I felt whenever I was in Paris, the same thing I felt here in New York. It's just the city wakes you up and it's like really hard to be bored when you're walking the streets and there's music blasting everywhere. There's like a bunch of taxi sound, or I guess not taxi, just car sounds, and people always trying to sell you stuff. I don't know. I loved it. It was such a change of pace from the suburban life that have lived all 23 years of my life so far. It was also so easy just to find things to do because, New York is by far the most popular city in America. And whenever you look up things to do in NYC, there were just like thousands of TikToks that would pop up showing you what to do, cool spots to visit. And man, I'm sad that that was my only time I got to spend in New York. I mean, I definitely plan on coming back. Hopefully, the series takes off. And okay, my ideal goal is oh my God, I'm stuttering saying it. I want to move to New York City for 1 year of my life, just 1 year, because I've heard from people that have actually lived in the city that it's not all that it's made up to be, but that saying, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. I want to experience that before I get old and decide to start a family and settle down. I want to live in a city like New York because I don't know, I just feel like New Yorkers are so smart. Like you can just ask them where to go and they'll tell you exactly where to go to, what stop, what subway, what bus, whatever. And for the longest time, I always was that person who was like, I'm not going to leave my hometown. This place is the best place on earth. I love it here more than anything else. And I still do feel that way about my hometown. I love it. I love just everything about it. But then again, I want to experience living in other places before I move back and settle into my hometown whenever I'm all grown and established and stuff. And man, if New York could be one of those places, wow, that would be amazing. Hopefully, this series does well. Another thing I experienced while I was in New York was that the people were actually pretty decent. I mean, most of them were pretty nice whenever I would ask them for directions, or sometimes people would see me vlogging and they would come up to me and start like a conversation. And, I would tell them that I'm in New York for the rest of the week. And I would ask them, oh, what should I do? And they would just be so enthusiastic about things I should go visit, things I needed to go see. And maybe it's because, my sample size was pretty small. I only spent Monday through Friday in well, technically, yeah, not even technically, Sunday through Thursday in New York. And maybe I haven't experienced enough or met enough New Yorkers, but everyone I met was very pleasant. I already gave a pretty quick recap of my New York experience on the main channel, so I don't want to go too in depth about it, but yeah, expensive, the people were nice, so many things to do, and man, the city smells horrendous. I said this in my video, but it either smells like cigarettes, garbage, marijuana, or some sort of combination of all three of those things. And it's just, whenever you walk outside and you want to get a breath of fresh air, you expect it to be clean, you expect it to be like, but then you walk outside in New York and it's just like, ew, I'd rather go back inside and get a breath of fresh air there. But overall, I loved New York. Like, I, yeah, honestly, I would say it's the best place I've ever visited. I don't know. Paris was really nice. Plus, like, ugh, the women in Paris, like, you walk outside and you see like eights and nines everywhere. Not the case in New York. I mean, don't get me wrong. There definitely were a lot of beautiful women in New York, but then again, we're in America, so, it's pretty hard to compete with like the European girls. But yeah, overall, I loved New York. It's pretty hard not to give it a 10 out of 10 rating. I will say though that I wish I got to experience more of it because if you didn't know, New York City is made up of like five boroughs. It's like Manhattan, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. And for a majority of the week, I spent my time in Manhattan just because that is the most like vibrant, popular borough of New York City. But I do wish I got to go to like Brooklyn, not so much Staten Island and the Bronx, but Brooklyn and Queens. But, I only got 1 week in each state, and I have to choose the most popular city to go to, so I thought it was pretty easy choosing Manhattan. Speaking of my 50 States in 50 Weeks series, I started uploading my videos this past week on Monday. January 1st was the first upload, and so far, the videos are doing, like not even one of them has cracked 300 views yet, but I'm gonna be patient. I'm gonna do my best to make the best videos, and I'm just waiting on that one video to blow up. But in the meantime, yeah, nothing significant has happened yet. But I can't wait to hop on this podcast when one episode just like blows up and goes viral, and then like my backlog of catalogs, or sorry, yeah, the backlog of the videos will then therefore blow up as well. Man, that's going to be an exciting like podcasts, but also just an exciting time in my life where hopefully things start clicking. I don't know. I'm currently sticking to a 5 video per week schedule, one video every Monday through Friday, and no videos on Saturday and Sunday. And I'm glad I did that because whenever I first thought of this idea for the series, I was like, oh, let's daily upload them and, post a video every single day. But man, recording, editing, all that, not to mention actually living life, aka commuting, it's a lot of walking. It's tiring. Like, I had 2 off days this past Friday and Saturday. I'm recording this on a Saturday, and all I did was sleep, eat, and go to the gym. And I'm not even 1% disappointed in myself because I was going so hard on Sunday through Thursday. Like, here's how my normal day went. I'd wake up around 8 or 9 and then, do the normal morning routine, brush my teeth, wash my face, do all that stuff, and then hop right into the edit for the vlog. And I have to finish the editing by like at least by 12 o'clock because I wanted to get out into the city and, record tomorrow's video. So basically, it looked like wake up at 8, brush my teeth, do all that stuff, start editing by 8:30, edit, schedule the upload, make the thumbnail, do all the stuff for the video that day that's coming out, and finish that by 12, eat, shower, and then go into the city, get into the city around 2, record my video for tomorrow, and I would record from about 2 to like 7, commute back home, get home by 9, start editing, and then edit all the way up until 12, and then I'd like, wind down, go to sleep around 1, wake up and repeat. And it was just a lot. Like, I was really sleep deprived, and I'm glad I have 2 off days that I was able to catch up on my sleep and just stay in bed. Like, I think today I've taken a total of not even 1,000 steps, which is so bizarre to think about because whenever I was in the city, I was walking like regularly over 16,000 steps every single day. Now, obviously, this whole YouTube thing is what I want to do with my life. I mean, I don't know what else I could do to show people that this is what I want to dedicate my life to than literally giving up my life for these videos. But I will say that there is one thing that is super annoying about uploading YouTube videos, and it's that everyone thinks that you want their input on your videos. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of constructive criticism. I used to send all my videos in this Discord chat with my friends who I met over Discord, and we would just roast each other's videos, tell each other what could be improved and all that stuff. And that's fine, but whenever the criticism is coming from people that don't know a single lick about content creation, it just irks me so much. Like, for example, the other day, my mom was like, you know what I think would make your videos so much better? And I was like, what? And she was like, I think you should like start talking Vietnamese in your videos. I didn't want to be rude because, it's my mom and stuff, and obviously it's coming from a good place. But when I heard that, I was like, Mom, I thought this. I was like, Mom, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like, think about this for all you people that don't speak Vietnamese, or just think about this in general. Let's say you're watching, I don't know, let's say you're watching Friends, right? And you're watching it in English. And then midway through the show, all the characters start speaking Mandarin. You would be like, what the fuck is going on? And that's what I told my mom. I was like, Mom, I'm not gonna speak 2 languages in my videos. Like that actually makes no sense at all. And she was just like, oh, well, I was just trying to give you advice. And I was like, yeah, well, if you're gonna give me advice, give me some advice that makes sense. Or for example, just all these people think that I want their input on how to make my videos when I couldn't care less because most of the people that are giving me advice haven't tried making videos themselves. It's just like coming from a place of, oh, I think this would make your video better, in my opinion, not from like a content creator's opinion. And not to mention, the advice comes from like everywhere, like from everyone. And so I just want you to imagine this. Let's say you're a dishwasher, and that's your job, washing dishes. How annoying would it be for you to be at home eating dinner and your mom is just like, I think you should try this new method of washing dishes. Or your brother is like, that shift on Thursday, yeah, I think you could have done it better. You'd be like, what the fuck? Get off my dick. But yeah, that's just how I feel with this whole YouTube thing. Like for the most part, I love every single aspect of making the videos, you know. I love coming up with ideas. I love recording. My favorite part of making the video is obviously when I finish editing it and I get to see the final product because I know everything that was put into making the video. I love 97% of the YouTube thing, but one thing that has just really been bothering me is just the amount of people that think they can tell me what to do. It's like, ugh, bruh, I'd like to see you make a video because, you know, it's not as easy as you think. Anyways, everyone I talk to keeps telling me, like, oh my gosh, you're so brave for doing this. Like, I could not do this. And to me, I don't know. I thought it was pretty easy. Like, there wasn't really much for me back where I lived. Like, yeah, sure, I had my family and friends, but that's pretty much all I had in my hometown that was keeping me there, was just my family and friends. And sure, what I'm doing to any normal, sane person would be really scared. Don't get me wrong, I am scared of things not working out and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like I was more scared of just rotting in my hometown, just not making anything out of my life. And the first couple of episodes, well, mainly the intro episode to this podcast, I was just talking about how scared and anxious I was of this whole series and this whole journey in general. But now that I'm doing it, it's just kind of like I'm doing it, and there's really nothing to be scared about. I just got to do it. So I'm glad that went away. But I will say, I am kind of scared that whenever I go to the next, not the, not New Jersey, but the city after New Jersey, it's going to be a different experience just because I'm not going to be living with a family friend. I'm going to be probably in a hotel or Airbnb, and I'm gonna miss human contact because whenever I was in Alaska the whole week, there was like zero human contact other than maybe if I ordered food somewhere or if I walked in and the person at the front desk was sitting there. It was a quick hello. I am going to miss that a lot. But yeah, I mean, I'm already doing it, so what's there to be scared of, you know? One last thing I wanted to talk about was, man, I want a girlfriend again. Everywhere you walk in New York, there's like couples walking together, experiencing the city, trying food and stuff. And I was seeing it, I was like, man, I I want a girlfriend again. It's been about 7 or so months since me and my ex-girlfriend broke up, and one thing I really pride myself on is not being one of those people who just jumps into relationships one after another. But man, I want a girlfriend again. I hung out with one of my closest, like, well, not closest, but oldest friends a couple of months ago, and she said something that when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, you're so correct. But she said that I was like a relationship person, which I never thought of myself as one. But she said it, and I was like, wow, you're so right. I do love I love being with a partner. I love having a romantic partner, and obviously it'd be impossible to have one with me right now because I'm on the road 24/7 and just jumping from state to state to state, but ugh, I want a girlfriend. Who knows? Maybe I'll find like a nice girl somewhere in the middle of, I don't know, Tennessee, Nebraska, Utah, I don't know. But that'd be so crazy if oh my, can you guys imagine? I leave like this year and then I come back and then I potentially meet my future wife. Now that would be insane. Oh my God. Anyways, oh my God. Bye.